Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hegmo podcast. It's me, Hegmo, and we have a fantastic episode queued up for you today. I can't wait to jump into some of these topics. It's going to be really fantastic. Unfortunately, some of our normal hosts aren't going to be here. It's mostly just going to be me, Hegmo.
Whoa, whoa,
So,
whoa, 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 dude. What the fuck are you doing in here?
uh, this is my podcast studio. What are you talking about?
Higmo,
My podcast studio.
we've talked about this, and I don't want to tell you again. This is not the Higmo show.
And I how'd you even open? I thought I changed the
You
locks
know
on this
what?
door. Like what the?
Look, this is the last time I want to talk about this, okay? Welcome in, everyone, to episode 11 of the Blurred Podcast. Final Fantasy 11 now has 11 episodes of Blurred Podcast. So, you're welcome. Dex,
This one is so special, it's big, and so well prepared.
yeah, it's super well prepared. I definitely didn't chat GPT the outline. I put a lot of work into it.
Mhm.
I slaved over the topic. So now
Yeah, I
we
absolutely did read the outline already as
right.
well.
I figured you did. And I
Yeah.
So there's
really,
been
really
like
appreciate
extra
that.
steps for this one to make this one like super curated and wonderful for the audience.
Yeah. Um have you guys noticed this week? And I don't know if we can take credit for it, but I'm gonna take credit for it anyway. But
Mhm.
we have inspired like 15 different auction house threads since we did that Aeonic tier list last week. Did you guys see that?
Well, everyone's
Yeah.
listening to us, and they're like, "I can be a podcaster. All I have to do is make a tier list."
Well, yeah.
Easy
I
peasy.
mean, that's really all it is to it. That's literally what I said when I started. I was like, what kind of idiot couldn't do this?
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need any preparation. All I do is click record and hope I have something to talk about. But it seems like ever since we did the Aeonic tier list, the auction house has made at least 5 different tier list threads, ranging from
One of them
anything.
had yeah, one of them had like 12 different tier lists inside the thread
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They had one like mega thread for all of the weapons. My favorite part was that they like went from stuff that was related to the game to stuff that was just like completely random. Like, there was a first person shooter tier list thread. I don't know if you guys saw
Oh,
that.
hell yeah. Nice.
There was a thread like about job adjustments, which I also credit to us. I'm not gonna lie. I think they
Okay,
also
yep.
stole that idea from us.
There were
But
some good ideas in
Mhm.
there.
yeah,
So you're saying that that whenever we talk about something on the podcast,
hmm
Final Fantasy Auction House picks it up and like
right.
those users. So this week's episode is now going to be about gifting subs to twitch.tv/hagmo.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know if they did actually get the ideas from us, but I do know that they did actually get the ideas from us. So that's all I'm saying.
Mm, yeah.
Um, I didn't go into a
Mhm.
deep dive like on any of those topics. I do know, like I skimmed through the first one, which was weapons, and I gotta say some of those takes were just absolutely whack. But that's fine. It's okay to be wrong. I just hope that
Yeah.
they know that the real
The one thing I
scientifically
liked about
proven.
it,
What's up, Dex?
the one thing I really liked about it was they had an average of
Mm.
all the people that submitted their tier list,
Oh yeah,
so it kind of like it gave a decent idea of like where a lot of people's heads were,
right.
and that's not to say it was correct.
No, because we know it wasn't.
We
But
toiled for hard science for hours.
yeah, ours was scientifically tested and
Yeah.
proven. So
Ours is definitive.
There's there is there is something to what they call like when you put something to a committee,
mhm.
when you start getting too many opinions, you
Oh
get the
yeah,
worst
yeah,
results.
absolutely.
Um so, you know, that's why we have 3 to 4 extremely specialized individuals do our tier lists with
You
Mhm.
can just say
scientific
special.
methods and
I
stuff
know
like
the truth.
Yeah,
yeah.
we actually get the best, the greatest, and least autistic minds of Final Fantasy 11 in one room, and
Is that why Sharaj is not here today?
that's why Shiraj is not here today. But That's okay because he should be back next week. Did any of these other threads pop out to you guys? Anything in particular seem interesting to you? I did think the job change stuff was interesting, but I didn't have a good chance to read through a lot of it.
Mm.
I did like that it kinda
I mean,
was born of that original weapon thread and it just going off the rails where people would, like, argue about which weapon was good, and they're like, "Well, this
Mm,
job sucks, so it can't be good." And then
right.
they're like, "Well, how do
mhm.
we fix
And
the job?"
Nagling's the best weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the
But then they're like,
first
"How do we fix the job?" And I was like, "Yeah,
yeah, I think the
Thief was,
first
like,
couple posts
front and
were
center."
like Nagling is one and everything else is two. Like it's just silly.
Mhm.
I think
I mean, I
people
think it's
were
always
all over
cool
the
to
Naegling thing.
Hmm.
speculate about job change stuff and talk about it. I don't think that anybody at Square Enix probably has ever, they probably went to Final Fantasy Auction House forums one time to see like what kind of community activity was going on, and then like we're like, let's never go back there. Um,
If we can cease and desist it, we will.
yeah.
If
uh, but I do think that like any conversation that can be generated there to create ideas that maybe ends up inspiring future action is good.
so, there was a period of time when I was following the actual Square Enix like their live broadcasts like their it was
Mm,
Pokeyomi and Psyseeker I think, and they talked about actually going on to the auction house and reading those threads.
really?
Yeah, they talked about I don't know how often they do that, but they said they do occasionally, and a lot of the times,
Brave of
the general gist of it was that they also are not gigantic fans of the stuff that goes on there.
Mm.
But that's I do remember them acknowledging that. So I think
To
Square
be
is aware.
fair,
Mhm.
the Play Online forum isn't much better, it just gets moderated more.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
They just delete posts all the time.
Yeah.
AH, you have to, like, be blatantly racist to get deleted. If you have a really, like, hot, bad opinion,
Mhm.
it doesn't get deleted, whereas on, like, the Play Online forum, they'll delete stuff they don't like all the time.
Yeah. I would think that Play Online it would be much more strict about that and like taking out misinformation or just anything that brings the game's image down be addressed pretty quickly.
Right.
Just, like, blatant complaints.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. It's kind of like me. If you post something that I don't like in my Discord or like
Oh, I
on,
just delete it.
just ban the person. I don't even
Yeah.
delete
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm just out here banning people left and right, and I.
I did a
Yeah.
myth recently, and I
Mhm.
banned somebody without like much reason. I think I've only banned like 4 people in total, and I think that 3 of them have been the same person.
Yeah.
Um, but I banned
wow.
somebody recently, and they there
Mhm.
you can do through Twitch like an unban request.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Why was I banned?" There was
Oh,
their
yeah.
their unban request, and I felt like being like, "I don't know, I just felt like it."
You're a
That's
big
fine.
smelly willy. Wow.
I think I think the thing that people need to realize is that when you do this for fun and this like your hobby outside of work or something and you're not doing it for money or anything
Mhm.
like that, there's there's no reason for me to have a threshold and keep stuff around in my hobby that I don't enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But that's just
Yeah, I
me.
think that's the biggest thing. Like, I think that, not to like I have a very, like, low threshold, like or I have a high threshold for
Mm.
what annoys me.
Yeah.
Like, I you can be annoying. I can disagree with you all the time.
Hmm.
That's whatever. But like there are certain things where like if it affects my enjoyment of my stream, and I can only assume that it might be affecting other people's enjoyment of my
Right,
stream,
right.
then that's when I'm like, it's not worth my time. I like if there's ever a moment where I'm like, man, I feel uncomfortable doing this,
Hmm.
that's usually when I ban somebody. Uh because ultimately I'm not, I'm here to have fun and I
Yeah,
want other people to have fun.
definitely. It's a good way to say it, Higma. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Yeah. Hey,
So
thanks.
what else do we have on the agenda? let's see.
A lot.
What's the update looking like this month? Looks like we got kind of a big one.
Oh yeah, reviewing the
Someone
update.
took a big razor and shaved all the bush.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
Norcia.
that's true. It's
Yeah,
true. Norcia Wield. I was actually surprised by that.
I
I
think
was
I don't know
actually
why they
fairly
did that,
surprised.
but it's
I think
cool.
they should do more of that.
Mhm.
Honestly,
I agree.
Updating the
I
terrain to make it less miserable.
yeah. Can we get like the
They should add
miasma and Ottawa
guardrails.
chasm
Powered on my
out?
tower. Yeah,
Can we get the miasma taken out? That'd be fantastic.
remove that. They did
Yes.
it in
What are
Abysia because they knew it was bad.
yeah? What are some other like really terrible like time gate things?
I think they should fix
Those are probably the
the
two biggest
maps.
offenders.
Fix the maps in Yatunga Jungle. That's what I want.
We were talking about that yesterday,
Yeah.
actually. How like the map there is just like totally nonsensical, and I think it's by design.
Yeah. It's just
You
a
know,
giant trap.
um, it's supposed to be like you're out in the wilderness and like it's an exploration, right? But it is like you have to imagine the developer, the when Yatunga Jungle came out, the guy on the art team or like the maps team just being like, all right, so I've got this big idea. You know how like we have a map and like you can tell where you're going. What if like you go to Yatunga Jungle and like you're in the wilderness and like there the map doesn't mean anything and you can't even
Yeah.
use it.
What if
And the people are like, oh, like there is no map, like it pops up and there's no map because it's not charted. He's like, no, we'll make one, it
Yeah.
just won't make any sense.
the map just has
Also there's
trees?
2 levels. You can't just walk through, you've got to drop down below to a tunnel to get to where you're going, and so you have to know
That
2
also won't be on the
levels.
map.
That also will not be on the map. Exactly, yeah.
Good old
It's
Square.
an unexplored wilderness, and this reflects that like power fantasy in the universe. We're powerless here.
Yes. I love that.
Exactly.
The other thing is for this update, the Ambiscade stuff is a pretty good way to earn your points. You get a pretty decent bonus.
Oh, if you haven't done Amber, do it, Dick.
Yes.
Oh, the campaign, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Super good. Do it once on every difficulty.
Yeah.
At least normal through VD, if you can do it.
Yeah. So you
A
get
normal every day is the same amount as a VD normally,
once, right?
if that makes sense. Yeah.
So
One time.
your first ambuscade of the day during the event, you get what is it, 3 times as much, twice as much?
Yep. It's like popping a seal.
Okay. So
So
you
it's
get
3
a
times.
seal's
Yeah.
worth of stuff, of extra points, and it's
And
really,
it
really
stacks with a
nice.
seal. So if you
And
do
it
use a
stacks with a
seal,
seal.
do it
Yeah.
on VD.
Yeah.
And you'll get like a big one.
Yeah. So you get 18,000 hallmarks if you seal the first run of your day,
That's great.
which is crazy. If you don't seal the first run of your day, you get 10,800, which is still a lot. If you do normal, I think if you do normal, difficult, and VD, you could hypothetically make an ambuscade cape off of that number of hallmarks without a seal being used. So
That's
it's like
pretty nice.
21,600 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not a bad month. The Gigas are pretty approachable for a party.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a little harder than last month because you can't sleep them. So like the initial pull is a little scarier depending on your composition. But yeah,
You
it's not
can
bad at
sleep
all.
them with Stymie
True.
Sub-Scholar on Red
Yeah,
Mage,
yeah.
but nothing else works.
Okay. So if you need to sleep stuff, you can stymie on Red Mage. But otherwise,
I went in on blue. I tried to entomb them. You can't entomb them. People were saying bind works. I have to test if blue mage bind.
I thought
heard-
Shiraj said, and he could say, he said no enfeebles land. So like you
Yeah.
can't gravity, you can't bind, you can't
If I remember correctly,
paralyze, you can't.
you can bind difficult, but not VD.
Yeah. That's right.
But you can stymie sleep VD is what I've heard. So, but that's the only way. But if you're having like trouble with it and you need the extra crowd control, especially if you're just trying to do the 1 a day extra points, there's no reason not to just burn a stymie for that.
Oh yeah, just use stymie for that.
Yeah. And then you can always go down to D or whatever.
Yep.
But
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you get that triple bonus on every difficulty. So it's once a day per difficulty. So yeah, you get triple on your first normal, your first difficult, your first very difficult.
Yeah.
And it resets every day. It's awesome.
Or even easy and very easy for newer
True.
players.
Yeah. And volume too.
True. It's a great time to be alive.
Is there any other good campaigns that came out? I think Unity
I
campaign is
mean,
out. Is that right?
yeah, the double Unity coffer is on,
Yeah,
which is
that's
great
always
because
nice.
that's good for catch up.
Job cards are out.
Abyssia. Oh, which Joe, yeah, Omen job cards.
Mhm.
That's an awesome one, especially with the reduction in points that they did.
Mm.
Finish a
Like you
whole
can
job
get in a week, you can get like all the cards you need for 5 out of 5 on a job,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I'm in Abyssia right now. The Abyssia Lights campaign's on. So you cap all your lights the second you go in. Great for any
Neonize
farming.
if you like to gamba and try to find some money or unique pulse weapons.
Yeah,
True.
it's a great idea.
I've never done I think I did like 2 Nigel Uncharted runs at one point, and then I gave up. I was like, you know,
There's a lot of nothing in
yeah,
between, but the hits, you're gonna like get tons of bad appraisals, and then you'll get one nice hit, and you're like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. Anything
I
else?
think it's nice
Hmm?
to discuss the campaigns once a month when they come out,
Yeah,
because some people are listening and they're like, what do I do?
yeah, I think that's a great idea. Other news, we have an email that we got last night. And Dex, do you wanna read that for us?
Sure. It says from the he gave his real name. His name is Cassius Brownus. I've never heard of that person.
I haven't either.
his full name, social security number, address, and some revealing pictures.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's all at the head of the email. I have to skip that part for
Right,
legal
right,
reasons.
right.
He reads, longtime viewer here, and I wanted to say big fan of the show. Why, thank you, sir. Not only are your conversations super informative and helpful, but you guys are effing hilarious as well.
Wow.
I saw a Taro on the corner the other day flipping tricks, and I almost shouted out to Shiraj, but I didn't want to disturb him at work.
It's nice
Or
of you.
potentially even worse, sounds like a Taru racist if I wasn't him. Galka's becoming Tarus, Tarus becoming Galkas. This is a weird time. I swear they don't all look alike to me. Can't wait to hear what today's pod's about. If I had one suggestion for the show, it would be more mustache rides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that took a turn at the end where I was like, this is kind of where I'm losing it. I'm losing the thread.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we should go down this route, but then the mustache ride comment came up.
It pulled you back
I'm
in,
okay
right?
with it. Yeah.
Sounds like one of our friends here is fancying himself a Shiraj replacement.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
He's like, I've got an edge. Check it out.
I think
Yeah.
if
No, oh man.
if Shiraj continues to miss podcasts, what we'll do is we'll hold tryouts, and whoever can
Oh
like
yeah.
do the most mental math with their abacus the fastest. Like
Is it like tryouts from the Dark Knight where you just crack the pool cue in half?
yeah, well no,
You're
well,
like, have fun.
we'll like have to throw out like random mobs and like a buff or two and be like, what's this? How much attack do you need to reach PDF cap? And then if they don't
The
know,
abacus,
then right.
Mm.
They just start like their
they're
head
all in a
starts
room together,
shaking like
their
a
beads
fucking
clapping
robot.
together.
Yeah. That would be
I was gonna
that would
say,
be my
like,
expectation.
just every week you email in your opening monologue and we'll select the winner and they can come in and read the opening monologue and then not say anything the entire podcast until the end.
Yeah.
Special guest.
Oh man.
Or they get like one Shiraj one-liner to throw in to be contrarian. And then yeah.
I think that's great. Yeah, we'll give them like a list of troll comments that they can pick from, and just be like, oh well, it's Beastmaster, so it's obviously S tier, and that'll be like their
Yeah.
throwaway line for the episode.
In regard to
yeah.
Hashi's email, I think you're obligated contractually to grow a thick mustache now.
True.
Because me and
So
Hegma got that.
so question, Does that just would I just need to shave the rest of my beard for that and just like let the mustache
Hmm.
dangle?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
'cause I
That's
don't
all you
like
need
that
to do.
idea. I don't like that idea. I'm not captivated by this idea. That's what I'll say.
You need to get one of those rollers. You need to get like
Mhm,
the growth
mhm.
Oh,
formula.
the whole set,
Yeah, you
Mm.
need to like really groom that
some
puppy.
Oh,
wax.
yeah.
Yep.
For sure. For sure.
If people are gonna be sitting on it, you need
Mhm.
to do the whole 9 yards.
I need to do the whole grooming routine, huh? I
Yeah,
got you.
because at that point, it's not a mustache for you; it's a mustache for everybody.
Yeah, it's the community mustache for
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
Thank you, Happy.
So
I'm sure you didn't see this, but
yeah.
the artist formerly known as Premier 2, Peter, the
Mhm.
streamer,
Mhm. Oh yeah,
he's I mean, like the last time we talked about Asmongold accidentally featuring Final Fantasy 11, but
yeah,
Yeah.
Peter is a big streamer, bigger than us by a lot, and he
yeah,
decided randomly to play Final Fantasy for like 8 hours or 5 hours.
yeah. He's So Peter is a big Final Fantasy 11 fan. He grew
Mhm.
up playing it. He used to play it when he was younger, and he's just now getting back into it and like playing casually. May or may not be on a server that rhymes with diva.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It was
In a
super
link
cool.
shell that
On the big
rhymes with
audience,
Egmo.
Mm, that's exciting.
and he was like geeking out, like talking about it, all of his memories and stuff. It was pretty nostalgic.
That's awesome.
I hope more big streamers randomly just are like, I have a closet affinity for Final Fantasy 11, and here's all my lore knowledge, and
Mhm.
start talking about it to an audience that's like, oh, can we go to the
Yeah.
next game?
And then we pop in and we're like, actually, that's not how that functions. And just leave like a 10 paragraph
Well, what's funny is that like I've been trying to, because like the second I've watched Premiere 2 for a few years.
Mhm.
And at one point while I was watching, he like mentioned Final Fantasy 11. And so ever since, every time I pop into one of his streams, I just spam nation flag emotes from my channel
Mhm.
to try to like bait him into it. And like finally he cracked. Uh,
Okay, there you go. There's the long
yeah,
term
but it's
manipulation.
crazy. Yeah.
The
It's
long game,
crazy
the
to
long
see
con.
like the people in a much larger stream like that. Cause like,
Mhm.
when you see like outside of the normal audience that we have on the 11 Twitch community, there's still a lot of people that like they see Final Fantasy 11 being played and they're like, "Oh wait, I thought the servers got shut down." Like
Yeah.
there's still a lot of people that like don't realize that this game exists.
And surprisingly, one of the server just did get shut down. So that's great
Yeah,
news.
true.
Um, actually, I think the population has been slightly going down on a server. Like
Well, I
30,
Oh,
think
really?
yeah.
specifically they shut it down so that they could try to like curate, target certain actions on the server. I'm sure
Yeah.
they're like
Mhm.
going down the list and removing things that they don't want or RMT or
Hmm.
whatever.
Right. Yeah, they started this week. I know a couple of people got banned this week. So we will see
It's a
Be
how it
shame.
safe out
goes.
there, folks.
Yeah. Be
Don't do
careful out there.
anything shady. Don't be shady.
I personally don't know what a third party tool is, but if
Me
I
neither.
did, I would encourage you to not use certain
I thought that
ones.
was just an alliance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When you get the third party in,
Hmm.
like I thought that was like a
Hmm.
full alliance. I didn't know that was against the
That's a
rules.
really good point.
The tool is the one creating it, right?
Yeah, the current
Yeah, usually.
population on
Yeah.
Azura
The alliance
is
leader.
it's at 3556, which is kind of low for a weekend. It's not super low, but it's not high for what it's been recently. Because we've been up to like 4K or higher.
Wow.
Oh,
So
speaking of the update,
yeah.
before we go on to
Hmm.
the topic at hand,
Hmm.
they made some weird adjustment to Monarch Lynn, of all places, where they were like,
Mm,
"You'll be
yeah,
able to see people easier here," and I was like, "Bahamut,
Oh yeah.
fight your battle, please." And
that would be
then
really cool.
today,
Hmm.
um, the Japanese A Man Live, where they bring on a guest and they
Oh
talk
yeah. I
about
saw that
Final
was
Fantasy.
today.
Hmm.
It was all in Japanese, so I don't speak that, but
Mhm.
they had, like, a whole 30-plus minute section where they just talked about Bahamut, and I thought that was
Oh,
pretty sus.
yeah.
Interesting.
If you speak
Are they
Japanese and
are
know
they
what they were
planned on
talking about, please let us know.
Yeah, that is one thing that we are missing from like
Mhm.
at least currently is like there's a lot of this content that gets released only to the Japanese audience.
Yeah.
And like I feel like we don't have a reliable source in the Final Fantasy 11 community currently that's like on top of it. You know, it's like there's always
Mhm.
the guy that's like farming the patches and be like this is what changed, this is what updated,
Yeah.
etc. But we don't have the translator. So
When
if that's you,
Yeah, when we
if
hold
that's you,
the
then
Shiraj
please help
trials,
us.
when we hold the Shiraj replacement tryouts, we will add must speak Japanese fluently
oh, fluent
to
Japanese?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
preferred.
yeah. And
You get bonus points during
what we'll do is have them actually speak Japanese on the podcast. Like we'll ask them normal questions in
Mhm.
English, and
And we'll just
we
like
just won't
agree.
know what they're
Mhm.
we'll
saying. Be
nod our
like, oh
head.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's fantastic, and we won't be able to argue because he'll just
Yeah.
be right. So I think that's
Just every time they say something, stop and be like, "Man, that's a really good point."
mhm.
You
And then
speak fluent Japanese, this is your golden opportunity to spread misinformation.
Just start lying about stuff. That'd be
like
fantastic.
what is the isn't that a character in like the Ocean's 11 movies? There's the character that doesn't speak English, but
Mhm.
they all just understand what he's saying.
Oh man, that'd be a great bit to do on the podcast. Like, yeah, we know exactly, but
Yeah,
not tell the audience what he's saying. Like, we just have everything written
exactly.
down beforehand. Okay. So let's go ahead and start moving into the topic of the day. And before we start telling our anecdotal stories, I just want everybody to know that our topic for the day is we're going to be talking about our first experiences with Endgame, whether that is historical, like old nostalgic first entries, and more modern ones. We're going to be talking about like how we kind of found our own groups, how we kind of made our way in the Endgame scene, like built our way up to doing content. And if you have any stories that you would like to share about how you found your group, how you created your group, how you made your endgame community or found your endgame community, and you want to email it to us, feel free to email it to us at blurredxi@gmail.com. We would love to hear your stories, and if we get any of those, we will read them on the podcast and share them with the class. So, our very first thing, we're going to go around the table. We'll start with Dex. Dex, what was your first endgame event, and how did that go?
My very first endgame
Very,
event
very
would
first
be
endgame.
Sky,
Mm,
doing Sky. I had leveled my ranger to 75. I was cranking and spanking.
mhm,
And, honestly, it's more like the people you meet along the journey of your leveling, because back then leveling was so slow, and
right.
you kind of make friends. And people end up being in groups together, and then they're like, "He wasn't bad. Toss him
Mm,
a pearl." So my first thing was Sky, and being the ranger, that was desirable to be like the bitch and just park
Hmm.
somewhere and wide scan for an NM for hours,
right.
like Zapanka or Ulakumi.
Mhm. Did you enjoy that?
That part of it wasn't fun, but shooting stuff was, like,
Mhm.
when we got to do the gods finally after what felt like a week of farming pops.
Yeah, I think we complain about this a lot in Sortie, but the time between the actual meaningful like fighting monsters and stuff like that is has always been a thing in this game, and I think it's gotten much better over the years because we don't have to spend hours and hours and hours farming despot and whatever other sky like pop nms. But that's definitely something that has always been a part of Final Fantasy 11. Now it just is running through hallways instead of farming
Hmm.
pots or giants in Sky.
The pace back then was much slower.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like everything in Final Fantasy 11, it was more community oriented too. You know, like
Yes.
you were farming for your link shells run versus like your daily, your
Right.
daily 30 minutes or daily hour
Mm-hmm.
with a party. So it was like you were putting in time to progress the link shell on the
Mm,
weekend when you got to popping stuff. So
The other aspect that affected the speed, though, was the competition. Like, there was a lot of
right.
competition.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not like how it is now where you can just, or how modern Endgame is now where you can just pop your own
Most
instance of
things are
something.
instanced or force
Right.
spawned, right?
hmm Back then we were all
I think
fighting
they've
over.
even updated a bunch of those NMs in Sky to be force spawns. Like Ulukumi used to be a lottery.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um I do
Eventually,
remember.
being Ranger was good because you could get to go to Kieran and shoot it the whole time in the party. Well, the samurais sat in the outside alliance, throw a weapon skill at it once in a while.
There you go. Yeah, I do remember it did feel really good when you could announce in your Linkshell chat, "Hey, I have my own Summerstone." So I just did all this work for you
Mm.
guys.
You're like, plus 50 DKP, great job.
Yeah, exactly. I'm I'm 2 weeks closer to getting that Byakko Hidate now. Uh,
The link shells I were in back then did use a point system based
yeah,
on attendance, based on contribution.
yep. So did mine.
It was a long time until that stopped happening.
hmm Absolutely. Hegmo, how was your first experience in Endgame, and what was it?
I didn't really do too much end game in 11. I was like such a slow starter. I feel
hmm
like I was leveling to 75 for the longest time. So I didn't really do much participation in end game until much later, probably what would be considered like more modern Final Fantasy 11.
hmm
But I do remember my very first like I had met a friend of mine in Garlage Citadel. Like we were both level 30 or 35 or whatever, sitting outside of Garlage Citadel.
Yeah.
And I, for the next 2 years, was trying to get to level 75. Meanwhile, like he became the preeminent paladin on the server and was
hmm
like running at H&M Linkshell and all this other stuff. And so periodically he would invite me to stuff. He'd be like, "Hey, we've got a spot for Dynamis.
hmm
You want to come to Dynamis?" And I remember the very first time that happened, he's like, "Hey, you want to come to Dynamis Winders?" And I was like, "What? What?" I was just like freaking out, like just panicking. And I was like, yeah, I'm I'm only a level 72 warrior though. Can I go?" And he's like, "Yeah, you can go in at level 72. It's fine."
hmm
And I remember just like I don't think I got any loot because I was just like a fill, in that run. But I just remember like sweating and panicking and just being like, it's like storming the beach or something, and the
Yeah.
explosions are going off around me. I have no idea what's happening. And yeah, that was my first Dynamis.
Hell yeah. Do you guys have any like memorable moments from your early endgame days, like something that really stuck out to you, whether that's on your first events or kind of around that time?
It was more so just like the banter
hmm
and the silly topics we talk about while waiting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like maybe not even in Sky, but like waiting for an H&M spawn. You just sit there and like you'd be doing homework and talking to people.
Yeah. It did seem like the community aspect was a lot or a much bigger part of the game back then. I don't think people are quite as social these days, and I think that just reflects the age of the player population. We don't have time to be sitting around. I know, like when I was running events, a lot of the time, like I would try to banter here and there, but at the same time, I'm tired. I'm just like trying to run this event for people, trying to get the content done, and then move on to my next thing.
We'd all be on Ventrilo back then, and
Oh
like
yeah.
I remember I had a slew of like you could push to record on
hmm
Ventrilo, and you could capture people's like wild statements and use them as sound bites. It was the best.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I can
Something
definitely
really.
relate to that. Like,
Oh yeah.
I because in events, like when I run events for the Link Shell, I'm usually streaming,
Right.
and like I can't my when I watch like somebody like Velner,
hmm
who's like clearly in voice chat, well interacting with his chat, and he's got voice chat going
I've
on and
told him
playing
I
the
have no
game.
idea how he does that.
I don't know how he does it. Like like my link shell will be in voice chat hanging out, and I'm like, I can't. Sorry guys, I
yeah.
can't go in there because I can't. Like I'm focused on stream. I'm focused
He
on
can
playing the
hold like
game.
3 or 4 conversations
Yeah,
simultaneously. I
Yeah.
don't understand that at all.
He's a talented dude.
He'll be typing to his party. He'll be or reading the party chat and talking to that. He'll be reading the Discord or listening to the Discord.
Mhm.
He'll be talking to someone in his fucking live chat. It's nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That's way too much.
I can't even like somebody said last night to me, like I was streaming last night and I was getting ready to do Zevioso. We did a Zevioso V20
Mhm.
and I was refreshing my memory on like the strat. And somebody in chat goes like, I can't tell if you're frozen or if you're just not moving or speaking. And I was like, oh, sorry, I was reading something for like 10 minutes. Just like,
Yeah. Hegmo.exe froze for a second.
yeah, yeah,
That's fair.
yeah. It was vile.
Yeah.
One
I
thing that was really memorable to me, it wasn't my first event, but like
Mhm.
we did Dynamis, and it was always a struggle bus. People would wipe the alliance all the time. But something that was really memorable to me, I had a really shitty PC back then,
Mhm.
and at one point, I
Mm.
think the like my room gets hot as hell because it's small, and the PC was like sucking all the heat out of the room and like just spitting out like hot air.
Mm.
The like heat stress sensor on the motherboard broke, and at one point, like, we're on voice and we're just playing, and suddenly my computer goes like, "Boo-doo, woo-doo, woo-doo." It's like an alarm going off, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "My computer's exploding."
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
these are older computers, so like you guys might not know this in if you're from a younger generation, but it had like a fire alarm bell inside.
I did
And
not know that. Yeah, I did not know
I would
that.
literally blue
I
screen, like, often due to heat, like, the blue screen error message would say something about heat.
That's crazy. I did have one time, not in 11, but in Final Fantasy 14, back in A Realm Reborn when they added the avatars and like the Ifrit fight was one of the first like big trials that you could do.
Mhm.
And we're doing Ifrit and suddenly like there's somebody pounding on my door. And so I'm like in the middle of a raid essentially. So I'm like
Yeah.
being awkward about not getting maybe I ignore it. And they just kept pounding on the door really fucking loud. And so I'm like, okay, sorry guys, I know we're in the middle of a pull. I gotta get up. And I go and it's the fire department. And like four guys in full
Yeah.
fire department regalia. And they're like, there's a fire on a balcony, and we're trying to figure out how to get there. Do you have access to this patio? And so I'm
Mm.
just like, yes. But yeah, that was super ironic. We're fighting the fire avatar, and the
Yeah.
fire department shows up.
You're like,
And
"Yeah,
then,
yeah, go ahead, but I'm gonna get back to my raid." So,
yeah,
Ifrit and Ifrit Hard were the first, like, actual hard
yeah,
fights in the game
mhm.
yeah. I
during
think it
1.0.
was the hard mode Ifrit trial we were doing.
That was before they released, Good King Mugamog and
Yeah,
Garuda, and those were, like, the only 3 fights other than, like, a special one, the Vandarnis one, I think,
Mm.
before 1.0 ended.
yeah.
Damn.
Those were fun.
So
Play back
for
then, you missed out because it played a lot similar to 11 compared to what it is now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've heard very mixed reviews
That's a
about
whole different
1.0.
topic. I
Um,
wish I had played because I would have probably liked it. I
There
think
were a lot
most
of
of us would
issues
have liked it.
with the
But yeah,
game, but I found it much more of an enjoyable experience because it was much closer to 11,
mhm.
mm,
so it was easier to, like, grasp. Now it's more like WoW, and if you have WoW experience, that might be, like, a super easy transition for you.
Mm. Yeah.
but I think in general, like looping it back into 11, like that's how games have evolved, right? Like it
Yeah,
is this shorter attention span, this daily checklist, and not about like building a community around farming pops for a weekly sky run. Like everything is much more short term and like fast paced in terms of the reward cycle. And like we've kind of adapted into that a little bit in 11, but
and failure was more common.
yeah,
Like,
Mhm.
you could spend the whole week farming pops, and then someone goofed up, and you wiped to Byakko, and there goes the weekend, like,
Yeah.
you don't have any
right.
more pops.
Yeah.
So I want to ask the same question that we just went over. as far as what your first Endgame experience was,
But you didn't give yours.
how you got into the group. We'll talk about that shortly.
Okay.
But now, no nostalgia. I want your first experience in the modern day. So let's say
Mm.
whether that's Omen, Dynamis, it might even be Odyssey, Sortie. Like, what was your first Endgame experience in like the content that is currently being run, and how did you guys get into those groups? Let's start with
In my
Dex, go ahead
experience,
and let you go
it
first.
was pretty similar.
Mhm,
I came back to the game. I was trash. I joined a social link shell.
mhm,
I hung out with people. I talked to them, and then like talking to them, I got invited to do Dynamis Divergence.
okay,
Um, a bunch of my real life friends played back then, and
yeah,
they were already like in this link shell that did Dynamis already. This was before I started like getting into other shells that I'm more recently associated with.
mhm.
That link shell back then was Solar Flare, and they've all hopped server.
Oh, okay,
Um, but they would do Dynamis weekly or twice a week actually,
yeah,
and it worked around my schedule where I could get in before I went to work,
mhm,
and I would just like try to help out in any way I could on the jobs that sucked until I got like a core that was functioning.
mhm.
Because when I came back to the game, I was like, I'm a blue mage, and that
Right.
isn't really helpful for a lot of end game activities. So
So
I learned quickly I had to like
did you go blue mage to those
what?
dynaruns?
At first, yeah, but I wasn't contributing much.
Okay. Would you
But
recommend people do that? Like just go whatever job?
yeah,
Okay.
you should go what you have,
Mhm.
and you know the content now especially isn't so demanding.
Right.
But even back then, it
Mm.
wasn't so demanding that you couldn't make things happen.
Yeah.
Back then, the goal was never really to kill wave 3 every time.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
You
for sure. Like you
you
get a
would
wave
you would
one
just
clear and you're
do wave 1
that's
and 2 as much
progress.
as you could.
Right. Right.
People got currency and people got drops, and that was the run. And if you had something to RP, you got RP.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Uh,
Um,
Hegmo, what was your first experience in the modern day, and how did you find that group?
Ooh, also Dynamis Divergence.
Mhm,
I remember I came back very similar story to Dex. Like I came back to the game. I went through Rhapsody's Havana deal and like was, progressing through missions and stuff. It was
mhm.
actually probably the first time I ever finished COP, like some of the mission chains that I just never progressed previously.
Yeah.
So I was like working through missions and eventually got done with Rhapsodies, was in a social link shell. And like I had a few friends that I had played with previously. Um, and the small group of people from that social link shell were like, let's try Dynamis Divergence.
Mhm.
And so we got together, we went to Dynamis Bastock and we pulled the first three statues, managed to fight through them, and then we pulled the red eye statue right there in the Chocobo stables in Bastock Divergence, and we fought it for like 35 minutes. Like nobody could hit it. Like nobody had gear, nobody had the
Yeah.
accuracy, anything like that. Um, and that was our first run. I think we crashed out. Everybody left. I
Mhm.
I was still super new. And so like the next weekend, I was like sending them a message and I was like, hey guys, you want to do Dynamis Divergence? And like nobody wanted to go
they're like, "We
for
just
some
played.
reason.
That's terrible."
Yeah.
uh so yeah. And then there's another successful story, but I can save that if we want to go back to it.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you? Because you mentioned the whole, like, Rhapsody's grind. How
Mm.
long did it take for you to, like, get to a point where you thought you were comfortable to do endgame? Because I remember when I came back, I think I spent, like, a month or 2 just getting all the side grades and working through all the stories that
Yeah.
I'd done.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I mean, I had to finish a bunch of mission chains that I'd never done before. I was probably I didn't even have because I didn't play through Adelan, so I didn't even have 99 gear. I maybe had a few pieces. Like I didn't have
Hey,
anything 119.
I had quit
Um,
before Seekers came out, so almost the
yeah.
exact
So like I had a lot of catching up to do, but like, you know, you get into the normal progression. Like you start getting into an NQ Ambiscade gear and like maybe reforging a couple pieces before the like up to at least 109, that kind of stuff. Um yeah, it was probably like a couple months in before I was really
Yeah.
like back
I wouldn't call it
into
Endgame,
feeling
but I was
comfortable.
fortunate in that who I played with, they were willing to help me do, like,
Yeah.
Escher NMs just to get
Oh
some
yeah,
gear.
for sure.
That's not really, like, Endgame. I would consider, like, the Helm's Endgame.
Right.
Hmm.
I mean, no, yeah, to that point, like I remember I came back playing Puppet Master at first. I know. I was playing Puppet Master and I really
Ooh.
wanted a pair of Herculean boots. I think whichever ones dropped from Selkit. And I was like super determined to solo Selkit on Puppet Master
Hmm.
to get these Herculean boots. And I
That's
I
the
probably
trouser.
tried like oh trousers, yeah. I probably tried like 20 times and like could not survive the poison. Like he has a
Oh, yeah, he's
poison.
got that
Yeah.
poison
Yeah.
mechanic. I was thinking maybe, like,
Uh
Wild Rage got you.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it took me forever to like get past that. I think finally somebody like teamed up with me and we managed to get a pair of pants.
It's a shame you
But
didn't want the shoes because I think the shoes are much easier to get. It's that course.
yeah. I might have already like I might have had picked those up and I was just trying to work through like the Herculean set. So I had like a
Mhm.
full set of cool Rice and Jima gear or whatever, because that was like the best thing I had access to.
I remember, and I still, like, I feel for people, especially new players. I like to help out when I can because when I
Yeah.
came back to the game, I was super overwhelmed on what to do,
Mm,
Yeah.
where to start.
Right.
There's so many paths you can take, and it's not, especially as a new player, it's not obvious at all what is correct and what
right.
is, like, worth your time.
What is some of the preparation you guys did before you started trying to get into group content?
I would look up everything
Hmm.
as much as I could to, like, try to gauge my understanding for the content before I got in so I didn't just make a fool of myself.
Okay.
Like, I would read, like, the wiki. I'd, like, search on the forums if there was a thread related to
Mm.
the thing I was doing.
Hmm.
I would ask a lot of questions.
What kind of gear did you
Back
farm,
then,
like, to prepare for that?
well, yeah, I had, like, Sky gear, like, Escher gear.
Okay.
Um, that was probably the highest level stuff I had.
Hmm.
I hadn't farmed Malignance yet. But, it was all progression, so, like,
Right.
I did almost nothing the first run, and I was just carrying people on Blue Mage or, like,
Hmm.
you know, giving people Mighty Guard and doing super weak weapon skills compared to everyone else, and then, like, by the next week, I had, like, massively progressed my character where I was doing twice as much as what I was doing, which is still not good, but, like,
But
each
still,
time I
yeah.
went, it would be another jump.
Hmm. Yeah. Before I even started trying to get into a group for the current content, I spent a lot of time doing Ambiscade. I think I don't know, I probably did volume 2 Ambiscade at least 500 times.
Oh
Just
yeah,
Wow.
by myself.
absolutely.
But
Yep. I did
it
that too,
it
for
was
sure.
it was super difficult to find an Ambiscade group on Sylph because that's where I came back at
You could
where
say I'm, like, super spoiled in that regard
yeah.
because the people I came back to a lot of real life friends, and they
Mhm.
quit within, like, 8 months of me coming back,
Mm.
Yeah.
some even shorter,
Okay.
but before they quit, like, I think the first Ambuscade that was out when I came back was the
Mhm.
Quad-Av one, where,
Mhm.
he does Wrath of Gouda, and you stay 20 something yalms away so you don't get hit and
Mm.
range him to death. Um, they were like, we can just solo this. Come on Blue Mage and Magic Fruit, be the healer." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay," and they're doing BD, and I'm getting, like, enormous progress.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
crazy.
That's
within
really nice.
within no time at all, I
Mhm.
had full Ambu +2 gear, and I had not realized at all that that was, like, a huge jump compared to the normal endgame experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Um
I was in Myths Camp for sure. Like I soloed from very easy volume 2 up
mhm.
till I had a couple pieces of gear and then like I was like testing the waters in easy and then testing the like I was just trying to progress from the very bottom. And
Right.
like to me I was like I'll run this I'll like if it means I can get this gear this weekend, I'll run it 40 times.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
like,
kind of regret that I didn't have that, like, trial and
yeah.
tribulation experience because it would give me more appreciation for it, but I'm basically like a Final Fantasy nepo baby.
Well, hey, I mean, nothing wrong with that. But when I came back on Sylph, just to for some context, when I left like a very like major endgame group that was on Sylph at the time, and the leader and I like left on good terms, but me and a couple of the other like main people that would step in when the leader was gone left on very bad terms. So when I came back, it turns out one of the other guys that was like a sub leader for this Linkshell started his own Linkshell, and he was like the main end game Linkshell on the server. And we
Mm,
had like sent some very surface level messages over the years, like either to each other or like through other people. And I thought that when I'd come back, it was pretty much water under the bridge. And when I came back, he basically he denied ever knowing me and was like, yeah, sorry, I don't actually remember that name. And I was like, you're you're lying to me. But that's fine. I guess like if you don't want me to be in your link shell, then just like fucking say that. You don't have to fucking lie about it, but whatever. um so I ended up joining a social link shell that, ironically enough, had also been around when I first started playing in like 2006, whatever it was, and was my first link shell ever. Um, and I started like trying to do stuff with them, but the spread was weird because like we played weird hours. I worked nights. I had two characters at the time because I didn't know if I was going to get my original character back. So I started a new account, and by the time I got my original character back, I had a 99 blue mage on that character, and I gotta say, blue mage was fucking carrying me through the volume two
oh,
ambuscades
nice.
back then. Like I don't think I could have done it on warrior as well as the blue mage performed. At least back then. This was pre Odyssey stuff, so like no Sakpada. I didn't obviously didn't have
Yeah.
access to like the Dynamis gear and stuff like that. So the warrior gear was not good back then.
Just having utility alone, like being able to carry yourself, give yourself
Yeah,
buffs
yeah.
defensively, it's enormous.
It was really really
Before
nice.
they, like, buffed a bunch of the trust too, so the leveling experience is probably easy.
Hmm. So I
Like,
spent
Valinariel did, like, one-shot everything back.
yeah, yeah. Velner didn't do that. He didn't have his AOE. I think at the time we were pretty much using well, August and Archangel EV were the obvious tanks, but I don't think I had access to those yet because I
Yeah, those
hadn't
are,
even
like
I
done.
yeah.
remember Amuchuchu was, a
Oh
good tank
yeah,
too.
yeah. I never got Amchu because the he's tied to a campaign,
She's really
right?
good. Amchuchu,
Yeah.
she's strong.
Yeah.
Isn't that one tied to like a login point campaign?
I think
It might
so.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it took
It's
me a
kinda
while
luck
to
of the
get there.
draw when you come back to the game and what's available in the
Hmm.
login Moogle, like, sometimes you'll just get the best ones right off the rip, and sometimes, like, you'll get nothing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like people coming back right now and they're like, "Oh, cool. What's this Shantoto 2?"
yeah.
Oh, it's just out DPSing me by 10 times,
Yeah.
cool.
So I eventually like kept doing Ambiscade, and I had enough interest from people in this group, in this link shell that were like doing Ambiscade with me here and there, that I was like, hey, you know what we should do is we should do an Omen run because I've never done Omen, but obviously I want stuff from it. So my very first endgame group or endgame event when I came back was actually me putting together Omen, which I had never done before, and I didn't really know what I was getting
Nice.
into. Like I
We'll learn
remember,
together.
yeah, I remember researching it and looking at the NM paths. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? Because I
Yeah.
didn't understand the concept of like the random NM popping up. I was like, what? What? That doesn't make any fucking sense. How does that work? And then it also saying that you can choose the path to the end category, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
It's pretty weird just reading it, yeah. You have to
Yeah,
do it.
and I was trying to set that up, and like I said at the time, I had two characters. So I had one that was the blue mage, and I had just geared her bard. And I was like, you know what? I don't really have a lot of stuff to offer on my main character, so I'm gonna try to gear out this bard as much as I can. She doesn't have the best gear, but she's got a Turpander, and I just made a G horn. Um,
Oh,
so
nice.
so I'm gonna
Is that the one
go,
I think it is?
huh?
Is that the same character I think it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I didn't realize you had that one that long.
yeah, yeah. And I remember trying to set this group up, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go bard. I only have 3 songs, but it's better than nothing, right? And there was this one guy that I'd been playing with for a while, and I thought we had been friends up to this point, but he like played with this really highly geared multi-boxer that just six boxed like everything at the time. And he goes, well, if you don't have 4 songs on your bard, there's really no point in bringing it. And I was like, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because zero haste. If you can't have capped haste,
Yeah,
you might as well have zero haste. And
right.
I have 4 songs called Clarion Call.
Right. And me like just coming back and not knowing like anything about it. I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna do it anyway. Um
yeah.
and the only reason that run ended up being successful is because Funkworks showed up at the last minute and was like, "Hey, I'll help you guys out with this." And he came on as thief with a fucking Mandau back in, I think this was like 2019, and he just came in and fucking slaughtered Kin, I think, and it was great.
Nice.
I think we
This
died
was back when
to Thinker. We got pain synced,
oh, I think
but
Of
yeah, you're
course.
but yeah,
this was back when Bart didn't even DD though. Like it was
right,
like 4 and even bring up the idea of Bard DDing. This
right.
Bard sing song heal, and the guy was like 3 songs. Ugh. No, in my experience, starting off doing like Dyna and stuff, like people didn't care.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you weren't the best Bard, you weren't in the main party, but you were of course invited to come.
The place where I will draw the line at being a 3 song bard is Odyssey and Sorting. Those are like my only hard, like you have to have that gear requirement for those two pieces of
Yeah.
I
content.
came back in late 2020, and
Hmm.
like even by then, the only end game content that was even like considered difficult was Wave 3 Dyna, and people
Right.
didn't really do it like that. So those requirements were really lax.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of Wave 3 Dyna, I remember because Hegmo talked about Pup and coming back as Pup.
mhm.
I remember in that Linkshell that I was doing Dyna with, I thought Pup was super freaking broken because uh, our leader would like just sack pull all
Oh, yeah.
halos with a puppet, and
Mhm.
the
Hmm.
puppet would just never die.
Yeah, because you can get 98 point something percent DT reduction on a pet.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you can just pull like all half of wave two. The problem is, well, the great thing is they don't share enmity with the alliance until an action is taken on the enemy.
Mhm.
So all the enemies are just permanently stuck on the automaton until somebody tags it off one by one.
It's great
It is
until
actually cool.
someone instantly dies because they tag too much shit.
Yeah,
Oh
somebody
yeah.
does an AOE and then
Yeah.
the entire alliance falls apart. But
I remember seeing the dude Zosma like pull all these things on Pup, and I was like, "This job is broken. What happened that I missed
Mhm.
all these years where I thought Pup was dumb?" And then when I got better at the game, I was like, "Pup is dumb."
Yeah, you realize that you were right to think that in the first place.
yeah,
Oh man. Um, I wish. Oh, side note, I wish they would give Pup a little bit of a buff. But anyway,
they should.
so how did you
Pup is like
guys?
that newer player thing where like
Yeah.
the job itself has enough power where it can overcome like a new player's lack of gear or lack of understanding, and it's
Mhm.
like this job's super strong. And when you get to a higher tier where you're doing so much damage that things die quickly and you don't need to like hold it forever,
Yeah.
you kind of outgrow that
Hmm.
need.
Yeah, I think that's a good description of it. How did you guys progress after that, like first events? Did you guys branch out to other events? Did you focus on like one thing at a time? What did that look
Well,
like?
yeah, you were saying Omen, like I would do Omen with that group as well.
Mhm.
It wasn't something I jumped into immediately. And I remember doing Omen a lot, and, like, I was in a group where everyone needed everything to an extent,
Mhm.
so I didn't get things I needed for a while.
Yeah. Dex, would you say that Omen was more intimidating than Dynamis was at the time?
Um, yeah, because the bosses were, like, I didn't understand them fully,
Okay.
and, failure was more on the table, whereas
Mm,
with Dynamis, it was mostly wave 1 and 2. I had to, like You had to, like, line up with the Linkshell I was in. On Saturdays, more people were around, and, if you were able to go Saturday, they would do wave 3, but it wasn't all the time, and I had to, like, really, like, beg and my knees to get the zones I wanted.
oh, okay.
But, like, with Omen, it was like you would go all the time, and the bosses were just so hard for, like, a group of, like, 6 to 8 people. We didn't really
Right.
have a full alliance.
Yeah. I remember the Omen bosses weren't, they definitely weren't as easy as they are now. But I think people were starting to figure them out right about the time when I was coming back. Were you around when Omen was capped at 6 players?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't wasn't play for that either. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't realize that.
Wasn't that still in, like, 2017, 18?
Yeah, yeah. I was not around for that, but I heard stories from other people for that.
I heard it was hell.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine doing,
Especially with the gear that they have. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Doing Q to split the damage
Yeah.
with like worse gear, you would need a
but
pet
imagine
or
doing
two.
prophylaxis where you only could have 6 people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting time.
Zerg
I think it would have been
at
fun to
20.
be like a high-end endgame player around there and see how challenging that content was at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but alas, here we are.
I remember coming back to the game and being Mr. Blue Mage,
Mhm.
and everyone would constantly remind me that I missed my time, that Blue Mage was really good in 2016, and
You just
you
missed
missed the
it.
train, idiot. Like,
Yeah,
it's not good anymore.
that's really funny.
I mean,
Um,
I remember like I remember I had that really bad fail group,
mhm.
you know, like where we couldn't kill the first red eye. And then shortly afterwards, like I was working on at the time, like in that group, I was playing Monk by that time. By the time I was doing Dynamis Divergence or trying to get into groups, I was playing Monk instead of Puppet Master. I kind of pivoted into to Monk because it felt like a better option.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember there was a shout. I was standing in Bastock Mines by coincidence, and this Linkshell is shouting. They're like, "Hey, we've got one spot uh for Dynamis Divergence Bastock. Send us a tell." And this was like, you know, like I feel like on Shiva this doesn't really exist anymore, but like you would see shouts like that a little bit more often. And
Right.
when you sent in like you're like, oh hey, I'd like to go, they'd be like, okay, what jobs? What's your, you know, what accuracy do you have? Like
Mhm.
they'd like quiz you, you know, like they'd have you like send your resume in. like
Sure. Yeah. Fill out an application.
and I remember, yeah, I remember being like, hey, I only have Monk. Monk's my only job.
Mhm.
And they're like, ooh, you don't have anything else? And I was like, no, that's literally all I got. Like I've got Svarai, I made Svarai, and I've got a monk. And they're like, let me get back to you. And I like 10 minutes went by and they sent me a tell back and they're like, okay, we couldn't find anybody else. So if you want to come, let's go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Uh, and so I joined them. And then as we're doing the run, this guy who's actually still in my link shell now, he goes, hold up, what the is going on? And like the whole run kind of stops. And he's like, why is this monk out damaging almost everybody here? He like used me as an example. It might have been a different issue in their link shell in general, but he just used me as an example to call out everybody. And then eventually I became like an officer in that link shell and started running Omen and stuff like that. But I just won my little link shell lottery. I just happened to find a group that was willing to let a monk run and impress them just enough
Was that
You
that
know
they
what's
let me
funny
in.
about that?
What's up?
Like my buddy who I came back to the game and he was like one of the most experienced. He had 2 characters and everything. He had tons of like fully geared characters and jobs.
Mhm.
He had like just grilled me when I came back about how strong Monk was
Mm.
and how it just got super buffed from like the 2019 era
Oh yeah.
and how they like reworked all the weapon skills and it's
Oh
like a
yeah, when they
really
did the
good job
weapon skill
now.
remapping.
So I feel
Yeah.
like the Linkshell that you had joined inadvertently didn't realize that Monk had got
Right.
buffed and they had been
Well, I
in this
think
mind bubble
yeah,
like, "Oh, Monk's a shit job," and then, like, they had to
yeah.
see it to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was slightly before the monk, like, weapon skill remapping, because I remember
Oh,
when
even
Howling
better
Fist and
then.
stuff changed, so it was slightly before that. But yeah, it was cool, and then I mained monk for a little while, got into
Mm-hmm.
Omen, and I definitely feel like we had like multiple tracks, and this was like more of a serious, like old school style. Like the way I don't know how you guys run link shells and stuff. We talked about it a little bit, but like we don't track anything. There's no DKP.
Right.
There's no points
No, not
system.
anymore.
Yeah, this link shell did have that. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
like you got a point for showing up, a point for
That's crazy.
this. You get X
Wow.
points for that. Yeah, and they had like multiple tracks where like some days would be wave 1, wave 2, like farming days, and then they had like the wave 3, and the wave 3 runs were like hardcore
Mm-hmm.
because we weren't well, I think they weren't quite progressed and strong enough for it yet. And so like we were doing stuff like sacking all the halos where like
Yeah,
you'd have a rune fencer run through and just kite through the entire map. Well, the rest of the alliance killed the halos and left everything
that's
alive at the
exactly
end
what we
because
did, but
yeah.
with Puff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would do stuff like that, and that felt like a hardcore event. And like normal Dynamis wasn't wave 1, wave 2 wasn't so bad. It was just farm, and then Omen felt like uh especially with like progressing through ooh, like progressing through some of the ooh stuff always felt like a challenge, and like getting the right compositions to trigger all the different magic bursts and skill chains and stuff like that.
Right.
It was a little bit more technical than Dynamis.
We have, like, the exact same experience.
Yeah.
See, I was always hesitant to go into Dynamis. When I came back, I was definitely more intimidated by Dynamis than I was Element. And I think part of it was because first of all, I didn't really know how it was scaled. So I couldn't really put a finger on like the gear requirements that I needed for it. And then I remember I went in with like one other friend and I was like just trying to go in with trusts to anecdotally like see how strong the mobs were, and I just got
Mm.
fucking bodied like immediately. Like I couldn't hit anything. They were taking literally zero damage, and I just got like killed in like 3 hits, and I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't something that I want to do anymore. So it took me a while to actually try Dynamis again after that.
Yeah, I
But
think like the stat check in Dynamis was a little bit scarier,
mhm,
and like hitting enemies and doing damage was harder. But the like once you got past that stat like you know
Threshold.
shelf where you're past that threshold,
right.
it was a lot easier. It wasn't as technical. But at the same time, like Omen was more of a community event in that like sort of like Omen's run now, where you'd basically have a party doing
Mhm,
objectives, and then you'd have a lot of people in there that weren't doing too much,
right.
and but
No,
it was more
that's
about like getting
universal.
cards. You just
Mhm,
like as long as you get cards and like fill the alliance up and everybody was getting cards, then like at least we're making progress.
But for that exact reason, more good people would want to go than for, like, Dynamis, because Dynamis was a commitment, and Omen was,
Yeah.
like, something you could just come and do, even if you were a good player, you still needed cards.
yeah.
A lot of people, it's frustrating, but, like, a lot of good players in your link shell might not wanna go do the Dynamis because they're selfish and they don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a hard time trying to motivate myself to do Dynamis when I can just go do it by myself and make way more money. But
But even now, you probably still need Omen all the time for cards on jobs you need.
I mean, in theory, That doesn't stop me from not doing it.
But it's less of a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
The
first
only
thing
thing
I
about
ever Go ahead.
I think that's starting to happen with Omen now, especially since they like reduce the exchange rate and the card rates and stuff like that. I think that there's starting to be people that are classed out of needing Omen because like they have, 700 Bard cards in their mod case somewhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so they're like, I don't really have to go because I could reforge 10 jobs off of this.
Right. Yeah.
Probably based on when I started versus like when I started to like really get a grasp of the end game and organize my own shit.
Mhm.
My end game experience is so skewed in that like I've done plenty of Omen, I've done plenty of bosses. I would always go on Core Bard and get stuff done.
Mhm.
And I have, a good amount of extra cards on those jobs. But I never did Omen so much that I have this like bank full of cards that I could convert to other jobs now. Um, it's just like I would often end up because I'm on Ashura, I would use my extra canteens and just like see if I could get someone to do a boss for me and not like actually participate in the event. And
Oh,
as a
right.
result of
Yeah.
that, like I'm almost 90% done or 100% done with Odyssey, but like I
Mm.
still need plenty of Omen even now.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
would do
really?
I would do tons of Omen.
Yeah, I remember all the time when me and Dex's schedule lined up and I'd be doing an Omen run and Dex would be like, "Hey, can I AFK in there?" But it's fine.
That's because like I would always go to work when people would be sorting out their runs
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too.
that's true.
Yeah. Dex
It was always hard to like
actually
find time.
he's actually never cleared any content while he's been at the computer. He's been AFK for the entire end game progression.
I'm a fraud.
Nice.
Like you're gonna figure it out.
I'm a complete fraud.
Oh man.
I think the first thing I ever even felt confident like building on my own was Sinister Reign. Like
Mm,
that seemed
yeah.
Oh
like
yeah,
super
yeah.
approachable to form a group for.
Hmm.
But like once you start forming groups, you can get confident enough to like just jump into stuff. I'm not as crazy as Hegma where I'm like, Dynamis Divergence, I'll just get a bunch of random people and let's do it.
Right.
Yeah, let's go.
You gotta have that attitude of this might fail, but fuck it.
Yeah.
To this day, like I'm still afraid of that feeling. Like I need to like understand a little bit of what I'm getting into.
You gotta
I think
the
it
key
helps that
is
like
I was just gonna say the
I
key
was just
is
gonna say I
inundating
think it
yourself with failure.
go ahead.
Like
Yeah,
just fail a
exactly.
thousand
You just gotta
times.
fail too much. But also like getting to a point where like failure means that there's some level of success involved. Like
Mhm.
we may not make it through wave 3 Dynamis, but the people that are there are gonna get a wave 1 clear.
Yeah.
Like we're still gonna get, some currencies and stuff like that. So it's like
Unless you wipe the chocobo
never
stick.
never yeah, unless you get stuck in the chocobo sales. Like I never promise anybody a wave 3 clear.
Hmm.
We always try for it, but we're not that's not what they're there for. We're there for it.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it. Um,
Yeah.
the hope is there, but the expectation shouldn't necessarily be there. As
Yeah.
somebody that's joining like a run of the mill normal event.
Yeah. What about so like the other thing that was extremely daunting to me when I came back and just felt like such a huge undertaking milestone was Aonics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's changed a little bit because like to a degree gear creep and stat creep, all the old strategies don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you still could, but like you can now just Savage Blade Zerg
Yeah.
Zergy. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
things have changed significantly. But I remember like first Aeonic and like we would do them as a link shell once a month, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it was hard. Like I made a summoner on my original character, mastered summoner, and like didn't do a mythic, but I had like all the reforged gear, all this other stuff just to do Aeonics.
Dang.
I remember
Because that's how we were doing it. Yeah.
I remember my first Ionic. My friend was like, you're gonna be a core, right? And I was like, yeah, because Blue Mage isn't cutting it. He's like, I'll just give you a Fomalhaut. And I was like, what? So being the Nepo baby I am, I started with a Fomalhaut on Corsair.
Yeah.
But after that, then it was a struggle. But at least I could contribute. Like when you would get to the helms, you had to have enough Linkshell members that had Summoner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you didn't, then it didn't work.
I've never done an Ionic run with this.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
It was
So
awful.
I think like
so
3 or 4 of my Ionic runs were the Summoner burn method.
yeah,
And it was
the first Ionic I did start to finish was one that I ran, and luckily I at that point I'd moved to Azura and I'd met some people like Kibble and Tao that really like guided me through that process, because honestly I didn't know what I was doing. It was just another thing of this is content that I want to do. It's content I know other people want to do. We're probably gonna fail, and we did wipe several times, but we still ended up clearing it. So one thing I want to ask you guys, because I want to make sure that we're not turning this into just specifically talking about content. I want to
Mm.
keep it focused on like the community building, the community finding aspects of it, because I think that's really the harder part. The hard part of this game is not doing the content; it's finding the people to do it with, right? So
yeah.
one thing that I want to ask is what were some like big shifts that you guys went through as like link shells fell apart, groups fell apart. Um, can you can you remember a time, like maybe the first time your group fell apart, and how you went about either like finding a new group or building a new group?
Well, I've been through tons of link shells,
Hmm.
and um, typically I would just piggyback off what the link shell would do.
Right.
Eventually, I got into the link shell that I met you in,
Hmm.
and they would do things so consistently and so often
Right.
that it was a lot easier to like kind of latch on to that group
Hmm.
and start taking more of a leadership role. So eventually I would start like helping out run things or
Hmm.
have enough knowledge to run them myself. But as far as like what do you do when people are out of line or like when things fall apart or starting a new group from scratch, like you just have to start back from basics. You take control of the role because you know what's going on and you kind of assign what needs to be done in your head and you find people to fill those roles.
Right.
Um, I think the best way I can describe it is having had to do it for sortie so often. I would go through any means I could. I would go scout people and shout and then like kind of interview them. I would make posts in the forums and like I'm looking for this, people who understand this, people who have this job.
Hmm.
If
You
you're making like a party for group content, it's like you kind of like gauge the group that you already have, see who's flexible, you work around people, and then you get what you can get. And if you have someone that isn't the best, you can work with them. And success, like guys were saying, isn't always on the table, but
right.
you work with it and you learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Hegmo, what happened with your link shell? You were saying that when you joined that first Dynamis run, you became a sack holder for that link shell. And was that link
Yeah,
shell named Egmo because it eventually gave birth to Hegmo?
yeah. No, no, that was it
Oh,
was a
okay.
totally different link shell
Okay.
that
It's called
I kind of
Link
joined
Shell.
into. And I joined that one and eventually like, I think like this naturally happens. Like there are I kind of built up the courage to be willing to lead stuff. And I
Hmm.
think that that's like one of the best things that you can invest in is like getting past that fear of leading stuff in Final Fantasy 11, because like
Right.
organizing and being willing to organize is maybe some of the best thing you can do for alliance content. Um it kind of like allows you to skip the line in some ways. um so I highly recommend, like, in general, like build your own parties. Like don't wait for an invite. build your own parties, and
Yeah.
that's how I ended up kind of in a leadership position in this link shell because I was willing to run Omen and I was willing to run Dynamis groups and stuff like that and help people get caught up and help people work on their summoner gear so we could do Aeonics and all that other
Mm.
stuff. Um, Inevitably, like all things, that link shell eventually dissolved over a dispute between loot distribution and like just fully fell apart in the course of weeks at one point. Um, and so I actually went like, from that, I was just like, at that point, like much more well established because I've been running in a leadership position and like building up my strength considerably. Had like a better network of friends on my friends list,
Mhm.
or in Discord that we could team up with, and I just kind of didn't have a link shell for a long time after that, or like I made my own link shell that had me in it, like,
Yeah.
and I just did like kind of like more recluse stuff for a while until I started streaming, and then I was like, if I make a link shell and make them
Mhm.
watch me stream.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like when I how I got to the current Hegmo era. But
The point of where all the like your progress was, like I feel like a lot of the like growing is supplemental, like outside of the event. Like you meet people and they want to do the activity with you. You do it. You don't do well, or you don't do like perfect, and then
Mhm.
after the event, you get these people together, and it's like, well, what do you need? And how can I help? And everyone like kind of networks together to like get people grown for the next time they go do the event. Like, you might go do hide your battles with some people or, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Hey hey, we're all in this link shell now, who needs something?" Or someone goes, "I need this," and then someone's like, "Oh, I need that too," and they team up.
Mhm.
Creating a good network is, like, pretty key to having an environment where everyone can kinda grow both individually, but as a whole.
Yeah. I think my experience is vastly different from both of yours. Uh, m-
It sounds like it.
mostly mostly because I think the biggest difference is I had several long-ish breaks in the game. So like my first time coming back, I came back around like 2019 or so. I was on the self server. I did the Ambiscade and Omen stuff that I talked about, and then like after a while, the community wasn't there to do stuff on self. Like it was really hard. I had a
Mm.
couple people that I knew that we'd do stuff, and they ended up transferring to other servers to do other stuff with other people, and I ended up taking about a year break. And when I came back, um, that was when I transferred to Azura. And so now I don't know anybody. I'm on a new server. I'm still under geared, but now I do have a bard that has 4 songs. So maybe somebody will let me do
He's
Omen
just a
with him.
little
Yeah.
myth in a big city.
Yeah, so my first day on Azura, I just shouted because I was like, I just want to find a group to do content with.
Mm.
And so I just shouted and I was like, hey, are any EU servers looking for a bard? And that's because I worked nights, so my times lined up with EU link shells more than anything. And I got a tell from the link shell that Dex was in, their leader, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go do Dynamis right now. Why don't you come bard for us?" And I was gonna go to bed, but I guess I'll do Dynamis with you
Yeah.
guys. And that's how I found the group that I ended up transferring my main character over. I slowly like built up my paladin and got, well, I mean, I wasn't comfortable tanking because I died all the time, but I theoretically got more comfortable with it. And
It was
I
the kind of thing back then where, like, you had more than one tank in the run and people kinda, like, backup
Oh
tank.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We would
And
at least have 2 tanks in an alliance usually.
oh yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, the sock potta didn't exist. The magic evasion on gear was so much
Mhm.
lower. You'd get blown up if you didn't have Aegis on all the time, and just random shit. But eventually, started running some events in that link shell because the leader and her husband had a kid, so they ended up essentially quitting, and I made a link shell out of the people that would do content with me. And then I did that for about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half until I got so burned out that I just quit again. And so I mean, I've really spent 3 different time periods building up groups and then getting burned out and then leaving and then doing it again.
It didn't help that simultaneously while, like, you were thrust into a leadership role because the leaders in our link shell had stopped playing, so we had to, like, kinda pick it up.
Right.
Like, I remember they stopped playing, me and, like, 3 other people, and
Mm,
I think you were part of that to an extent. We kinda just, like, hobbled together the link shell to keep it running, but,
Yeah.
like,
right.
on light support. And then you kinda just said, like, "Screw this, I'm making my own shell, but with the
Hmm.
people that know what they're doing from this group."
Right.
And then you just, like, you pulled the people that didn't suck, and you just made
Yeah.
it work.
Yeah. And
But,
I just wanted to do the content.
Mhm.
at the same time, though, this is when we were doing our Odyssey climb, so it's, like,
Ah,
it's
Mhm.
nice.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, we were doing, like, the V15 climb from scratch,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, that's crazy.
once you get a certain way through, it's like, "I can take a break now, this is enough."
Yeah. I want to
What I like is
address.
that I was gonna say Myth's story is like a movie about a young person moving to New York City. In like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
he like
Working in
just
the
showed
back of
up
the
and
sweatshop.
shouted, I would love to get an acting job. And
Yeah.
somebody's like, you
Yeah.
need an acting job? And then the director of the theater retires and appoints him the leader or
Yeah,
something. You know,
pretty
it's just
much.
like, uh,
You
I
wanna be an actor? Well, first you're gonna have to
yeah,
start the
yeah, I
brothel.
was like, let me sing for you guys. And
yeah.
some weird European lady was like, yeah, come sing for me. You know. So I want to get into like the changes that happened from like what we consider mid-level content, like Dynamis and Omen now, to as like Odyssey and Sortie started rolling out those adjustments. But I want to like kind of recap with you guys. What do you think the most important action you took to actually find a group was back then? For me, it was simple. It was making a job that was desirable and then shouting for
Yep.
a link shell or picking one up
Yeah,
off the
making a job
concierge.
that is, like making a job that's either, like, in demand
Hmm.
or is something people need that you may not particularly, like, be excited about, but you're willing to put the effort to, like not, like, go beyond yourself, like, I'm not just making this as, like, a roll corsair, like, you're actually gonna take it seriously, and you're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
do the work. If you do that, that's, like, a huge step
Hmm.
to getting an open invite into groups because not only do they see that you're putting in a job that they need, but you're also willing to do the work to like make a job work that you may not particularly want to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then down the road, they can have you do anything, even if it's something you want to do, because they know you're going to put in the hard yards.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like the number one thing, and it's what I tell a lot of people a lot of time when they come back to the game. Like, you should absolutely play the job you like to play because it's a game, and you
Hmm.
should have fun playing it, and you should enjoy it. Like if you're a blue mage or if you're a thief or whatever, and that's what you want to be, like, definitely progress that. But like, I think the people that are most successful are those that because Final Fantasy 11 really encourages you to do multiple things and like find the thing that's most needed and do that
Hmm.
because that's going to be how you help a group progress, and really a group progression is going to lead to much more progression than anything you do solo. So yeah, that willingness to like play, like you might not want to really be a bard, but like if you can make a bard and be an asset to a group, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that like willingness to learn and take the leadership role. You know, like you'll progress much faster forming a group than you will waiting for a group to form.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
what forced me to do my sortie groups.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was always filling in or being like due to my schedule, I would always like jump on an 8 boss run or jump on a 6 boss run or ask if people needed a fill-in for the day, and then it got exhausting that it was so inconsistent that I
Yeah.
was forced to a group.
Yeah, you might get lucky every
Same
now
goes
and
with audit.
then to like have somebody throw out an invite that just matches your jobs and stuff. But it's hard. Even on Azura, it's not something that happens that often.
Being flexible and being open-minded in what you're willing to do, job-wise, role-wise, expectations, that's the biggest thing, and then once you kinda mold yourself to what is needed, you can work on everything else that you wanna do simultaneously, and then once your other stuff is, like, at a point of excellence and you're established in that group, they're more willing to take you on the thing you want anyway, like,
Yeah.
you might be able to go thief the Dynamis
Mhm.
even though thief isn't
Exactly,
the
yeah.
craziest thing.
Right.
Yeah, if you've already put in time as the bard or the corsair or the paladin or the white mage, and you say, "Hey guys, I really want to work on my summoner," people are going to be a little bit more willing to help you out in
Than
return.
pulling a desperate summoner off the street, like, "Hey."
Yeah.
I've seen thief do crazy numbers in Dynamis, for example, like, but
Oh yeah.
it's someone who's or put themselves out there multiple times on other.
Yeah. The problem with a lot of these jobs that people see as underperforming is not the job itself, and I think we've talked about this before. But a lot of the time people want to play these jobs and not have a good understanding of how they function, and also just play poorly and not put in the effort to cure it. So that just makes us doubly not want to invite. It builds that stigma of like, oh yeah, I don't want to invite a whatever summoner to Dynamis because you're just going to sit there and not do anything hopeful. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, you're definitely right
Yeah,
there. It has a
I
lot to
think
do with
there's
not understanding the event itself, not so
yeah.
much the job.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's like a variety of like um factors to that, like the amount of information that you can find on how to be a successful warrior or corsair or bard is like factors higher than the amount of information you can find on how to be a successful summoner.
Mm, that's
Because
fair.
like there's just not a lot of like class information. The experts in those things either don't get attention or they're not sharing or whatever else.
Hmm.
And so it's like the barrier for entry is a little bit harder. And yeah, you can be a great summoner. You know, I'm sure you can. We've got a person that hops in chat every once in a while that does 8 boss sortie runs on summoner, and that's awesome. But the barrier for entry is a little bit harder, and you have to be willing to like really figure out how to make it work versus
Yeah.
something that's like more meta. Usually the meta stuff is easy. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to
Right.
make work, and
Right.
that's why it's a meta.
Definitely easier, and people will always go
Yeah.
with the barrier or the least,
Yeah.
barrier to entry, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's fair.
Speaking of the summoner and 8 boss, as an aside, like, some dude, was talking about, his, sorority 9 boss group where they use 2 monks instead of a paladin and a
Oh
dancer,
yeah. Yeah.
and I really want to know how his runs look now because on the forums, he was talking about, like, 7-minute Ammonon with 2 monks and all
Yeah.
sorts of weird stuff, and I'm like, "What the heck?" You can't just throw that out there and not, like, give more info.
Yeah.
There was a video, somebody linked it a while ago, at least of the one monk, and then I think somebody shared a video
Yeah.
of
Stirk
the
did
two
too.
two
He
monk.
did. He did both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that like that's super impressive. And I
Hmm.
think that, you know, increasingly I hope there's more and more like off meta stuff that people start sharing. Cause like, yeah, the just because the way we do Ammonon is this one specific strat doesn't mean that there's not flexibility in how to do it and make it work with what the way you want to play.
I
Hmm.
think the older any content gets, the more flexible it becomes because
Yeah.
people learn other things or outgrow it, and it just allows more people to try different shit because they weren't able to get into it or get into the on the first train, like,
Right.
going on Dancer, and these people who aren't flexible, I only play Monk, but eventually they get to the point where they get a group going and they make it work.
Hmm.
They develop
And it
off
could
meta.
also be that like, you know, like some of the people like your monk player might have already cleared, you know, they have their stage 5. and they're just like, "Hey, I bet this would work." Now that they've done it the meta way,
Yeah.
they start playing with it. And I think that like the exploration can happen later. We're done doing the meta. That's boring now. Let's see if we can do this with 2 monks. Like that's where a lot of the cool stuff comes out.
Hmm.
I've been saying forever that I think Blue Mage Aminon in a 9 boss run and make it work.
Hell yeah.
It's just I'm too lazy to make that happen myself. I keep throwing it out there hoping someone does it for me.
Yeah.
Can you feather tickle him? Which is
No,
just
what
hilarious.
you would do is
I love to think about the visual of feather tickling any infamous boss. You just pull out your little
oh, that's the best
ding-a-ling.
part. It's
Hmm.
just like whipping out the feather tickle, the reaving wind, and
Yeah.
making
Hmm.
them do nothing. I love that.
Yeah.
It's a lot more potent on some bosses than many people would expect. But on Aminon it wouldn't work 'cause he's like
Mm.
dark mode, and that's why I've heard
Right.
Zevioso.
Yeah, because he's
Yeah.
stuck in dark mode. That's right.
But
Mm.
like you would just sit on Magic Barrier and Selene Coat, and you would take nothing, even more so than a Paladin with Stone Skin, because it's
Yeah.
so much stronger.
Hmm.
It's
Oh,
more of a matter
interesting.
of holding hate, because
I'm
the
sure.
Magic Barrier itself would be like 700 plus Stone Skin, whereas Stone Skin is only 450.
Yeah. Mm.
There's
So
a
Let's
lot of
see it.
theory.
the next thing that I want to talk about is what did the transition look like for you both going from that 18-man content with Omen and Dynamis and whatever to most stuff is now 6-man with the advent of Sortie
Mm.
and Odyssey. Egmo, were you mostly playing by yourself at that point?
Well, when Odyssey first came out and Sortie, like a lot of my first groups, like was more so playing with just a tight knit group of friends, like the people
Hmm.
that we had met, from the Linkshells, and like over the past, like you have your little in group that forms because when you're doing solo or you're doing 6-man party stuff, it's like, oh, these are the people that I trust the most. Let's
Yeah.
let's form a little side group to work on this, and that's probably where most of my progression came through was that kind of stuff.
Hmm. Um,
I'd say pretty much the same, except like we had our group. You stopped playing at one point, and Sortie came out, and we would do Sortie casually with
yeah.
the people we had that were in that group.
Yeah.
Like I did plenty of Sorties with Kibble and Tao
Hmm. So for
among people that were regulars at the time.
for Odyssey specifically, that was the main thing that it was a big jump, right? Going from Omen and Dynamis to down to 6 people and the sort of
Yeah.
content that Odyssey was. So the thing that I did when I decided, I was like, I mean, I was probably 4 to 6 months behind on starting Odyssey after like the bosses came out and stuff like that. I was a little behind. But I went to our Linkshell, which was pretty big at the time, and I put on a Discord. I was like, "Hey, I want to start an Odyssey static," and I got quite a few bites at that time. And that's how me and Dex really started playing together. We did a couple events like here and there, but until we were doing Odyssey, we weren't doing like smaller group stuff on the regular.
Yeah,
Mm.
And the thing about Odyssey that was so much different from the content that came before that was just the flexibility required. And I don't know if you guys
Oh
experienced
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I went from
Yeah, for sure.
2 jobs. I only had Paladin and Warrior on my main character to, I think by the time we finished the V20s, which was probably like a year and a half process for us, um I had like 11 jobs.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I mean, I think
I
that
doubled my
flexibility
job.
is like, because like through Omen and through Dynamis, like you can coast on a single job. Like,
Mhm.
you might work on a second, like start working on your Bard or Corsair just because like you see that as a need. In the
Right.
link shell, it's like often an empty spot, but like in general, but Odyssey requires that flexibility, right?
Right.
Like if you're a if you're a warrior main, like you're gonna run into a couple fights where it's like, oh, there's no spot for a warrior here. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe Warrior's less of an option there, that example there, except for like a few key fights. But you get into some of the fights that are magic fights, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so I need an entirely new job because there's just not an option to bring the jobs I have. That's how I started playing Red Mage. My Red Mage was fully geared for Odyssey and then for Sortie.
Mhm.
Same with like a number of other jobs, dancer and stuff. I worked on just because they were more viable for those smaller specific fights like that.
Right.
From
For
a
sure.
leadership perspective, man, like the lack of flexibility is such a problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember we were doing Odyssey, and we kind of like formed it around who was available and who we enjoyed hanging
Yeah.
out with at the time,
Mhm.
and it didn't take too long before like lack of flexibility became a problem with some people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I know we ran with a guy who was like basically only monk.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly forgot about him. Because he was like
The librarian.
yeah, I can't even remember if we kicked him out or he just kind of like bowed out on his own.
He kind of like I think he knew he wasn't like pulling his weight, and he
Mhm.
kind of bowed out.
Yeah.
But if he hadn't left, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we needed to have someone more flexible fill the void.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. Like if you're not filling the role that a small group needs that is like trying to tackle endgame content, like be self-aware enough to just be like, this is I don't want to commit to this. That's perfectly fine. If you leave a group because you don't want to put in the time for it, I'm not going to be upset about that. I'm going to be
Yeah.
appreciative that you were like open enough to actually do that before we had to kick you out. But um yeah, the job flexibility, the hard part, because I was running a Linkshell at this time too, was not including the rest of the Linkshell.
Yeah.
It felt bad going from more inclusive 18-man events to now we can only have 6, and I'm not going to spend the limited amount of time that I have trying to get 20 plus people Odyssey clears.
You kind
Yeah.
of burnt yourself at both ends, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you kind of form your core group in the
Hmm.
whole group that you do the stuff with, but everyone wants to do it.
Right.
And it's like you have to have like tough conversations with people being like, you are not ready, or you're not willing to put in the time that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And you don't
Yeah,
want
I
to be that
think
guy.
I think in general, like the way I have approached it, I think it was just an unspoken thing where it's like, you know, link shell events are 18-man things,
Hmm.
and anything that's 6-man like is just groups that are self-organized. And it's always tough because like, I'm always willing to help somebody unlock like, a low level number level, like a quality of Odyssey gear. Like if somebody
Hmm.
needs their Boomba unlock, like yeah, sure, I'll help you out. But like I can't I can't progress your V20s. You know what I mean? Like for the most part. That's just like, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
that's a lot of effort and everything else. And same for sortie. Like it's like, you know, the when a static forms, like when a group forms for sortie, like it's fixed. Like sorry, like if somebody's ever can't make it, sure, but like we've got our group and it works, and it's too, as selfish as it may sound, like the risk of losing efficiency on something like sortie is like too high to bring in somebody you don't know or that isn't tested or hasn't done it.
Damn,
um
that's kind of fucked up though, huh?
so it's just it is, yeah, I mean it is fucked up,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
it's the truth.
So what you're saying is
uh,
I
don't
mean,
go
maybe
to
I'm
even
just
just
Shiva
like
then.
more like, oh,
no, I'm saying that like what if like, I think that you have to be willing to make your own group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you should never go into a link shell expecting a group to be made for you or
Hmm.
to have an invite to something like sortie. Like, but the link shell is there because there's I guarantee you there's 6 people looking for sortie. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
what's
Uh
crazy is like I've played with enough people at this point that I know some people who have never had that impetus to make their own group
Yeah.
Mhm.
and have only played 1 or 2 jobs and still to this day, like, they just they don't do anything, and then they finally get in the group and they stay there, and that's how they progress.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to your point, I think all of us here have had that impetus where, like, we reach a point, we want to do something well enough that we're not willing to wait, not willing to settle, and then
Yeah.
we decide for ourselves, like, "I'm gonna step up. I have to make it happen, otherwise it's not gonna get done," and then you
Right.
make the group yourself.
And I think that that may mean that you have to make a group and you also have to play the job you don't necessarily want to play. You know what I mean? Like you might end up playing Corsair and
Mhm.
you're not a Corsair main. But I guarantee you if you're making progress in sortie, that group is probably going to be more willing to help you make that Corsair because like they want to succeed with you. So you can get some help and all that in that sense as well. And it's like I think the other thing that people tend to forget, or at least my perception is that people kind of tend to expect to get a ticket in at the end.
Mhm.
And it's like, man, we like Myth was saying, like we spent 18 months progressing up to V15s or V20s. You know what I mean? Like, uh, so like, yeah, I would love to do some V25s or V20s too, but like I had to do every step of the way along the way to get there. So like you can't always get a ticket in at the very end and get your progress super fast. You don't start on an 8 boss sortie. You start doing a 1 boss sortie.
In the modern
Um,
sense, a lot of people are, like, they lack the experience of the grind, and they just, like, get given a V20 clear without having to
yeah.
do the V0, the V5, the V10.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember, Myth, but, like, me starting out, like, when we were doing our climb and we started at V0 for every boss and then V5 for every boss,
Yep.
we were only doing, like, 7K segment runs at best, and,
And that wasn't
this
terrible for
was
back then.
it wasn't terrible for back then, but
Oh
it was
yeah,
a lot of
that's like
factors.
2 runs a day, man.
Yeah.
You could do 10 runs on the weekend. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
the way our schedules worked out, we ran, like, every other or every 3 days, and then everyone was expected to, on their off day, like, grab a tag and do a double run.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but even back then, like, I remember if I ever had the Bard, I was always frustrated and I'd mess things up, but, like, nowadays, um, I'm my sortie group's Bard by default,
Yeah, you're
and
welcome.
I'm a lot better at Bard.
Yeah. I
It's
actually
not my favorite
groomed
job at all,
Dex for his sortie role. So, you're welcome for
that's not the only thing.
that. So, I'm gonna throw a question out there, and to preface this, I don't have an answer for this question. It's something that
Mm.
I've wondered myself because I don't know how to respond to the situation, and it's something that like really annoys me when I see it, but I don't like have a good way to respond to it. What do you guys do, or what is your response when you have someone that's in a link shell and they're trying to put together a group that like clearly we know people in the group or in the link shell want to do, like let's say somebody's trying to put together a sortie run and they put that out there in the link shell and all they get is crickets. What is your response to that? Because
Yeah,
now
yeah,
now this person is doing what
yeah.
we're saying to do. They're doing
Mhm.
everything correctly as far as like the stuff that we can tell them to do, but they're just not getting anything back.
Yeah.
I tell them
Yeah,
to
that's
broaden
tough.
their horizons, like,
Mm,
maybe the people that they're reaching out to are not excited about that opportunity or
mhm.
already have their own group,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
you might be reaching out to the wrong crowd. Like,
yeah.
you're doing the right thing, don't stop, don't be discouraged, but widen your net,
Mhm.
like, ask other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough and like it happens in all sorts of content. I mean, like we had a link shell leader in the link shell that I run that was doing uh facilitating Omen for like 6 months. They would run the Linkshell through Omen twice a week. And it was awesome because I had burned out on Omen a year ago, and I was like, I can't do this anymore because
Right.
Omen is like when you're the one running it, and you're trying to get all the objectives because that's what people are there for is getting cards. It's exhausting. And that person finally burned out and they were like, I'm going to take a break from the game. And somebody stepped up and they're like, okay, I'll run Omen. And like everybody stopped showing up because it's like a leadership change and
Yeah.
is the loot rule going to be
That happens
different?
a
Maybe
lot.
it's better that we just like, I'll just farm solo because I
Yeah.
don't really need as many cards now, the release of obligation, whatever else. And so like, yeah, it sucks because it's like, part of it is an indication like, maybe people don't really want to do Omen then. Like
Mhm.
maybe the link shell doesn't need it right now. It's unfortunate that there still are some people and like, I appreciate anybody who steps up and tries to organize something like that with the link shell. And it sucks when it doesn't come through, but maybe the timing's just not good. Maybe it is like, finding a group outside the link shell and then
Mhm.
seeing where that goes. But yeah, it's tough. And then on the smaller, like, your Odyssey, your Sortie, etc. Um, yeah, I mean, to a degree, you just have to be persistent. Like you
Yeah.
have to keep trying.
Yeah.
If you can find one person that wants to duo Sortie with you for a little
Especially
while,
all
and
the
like,
time, like, consistently, then you're,
yeah,
like, leagues ahead. It's a lot easier to
yeah,
form a group when you have 2 slots missing or 5 slots
yeah.
Mhm.
versus 5 slots.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, I have another great answer to that,
Mhm.
and I will not say that I do it or not.
No, just sure.
Um,
Hmm.
this is a very social game,
Mhm.
and it has a lot to do with, like, the types of people you associate with and who you meet and who you're friendly with, and that goes a
Mhm.
long way. So, like, if you're in a group or a link shell and you help somebody do something, leverage that. Um, like, guilt people into, like, helping you and then
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
to get things done.
Yeah.
Like, if people aren't being, receptive to you trying to get a piece of content done, being like,
Mhm.
"Hey, remember when, I helped you out last week? How
Mm.
about you
Yeah.
pay the favor?"
Yeah. I love blackmailing my static, actually.
Hmm.
That's a
I
big
I I know for a fact that I've done content I don't want to do because I feel bad
Yeah.
that people helped me in the past.
No, I get it for sure. I was willing to do that with somebody that helped me with a Bumba V25 clear until they started behaving extremely erratically and really strangely. And that was my ticket out of helping them back.
Like, thank goodness.
Yeah, I was like, thank goodness you called my friend trash, or else I would have had to help you. So thanks for
The Lannister always repays
Yeah,
you.
that's the other part of Dex's statement is that like, um, you know, coerce people into to
that.
helping you by helping them, but then also always be on your best behavior because people will get out of a situation as fast as possible if they want to.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I do want to throw out there, just because I was intending to do this sometime throughout the episode. If you are on Azura, and you're looking for a group, I will always recommend. I've even recommended to people in my own link shell to check out the Help New Players link shell on Azura. They
Mm,
have a
nice,
Discord of like 800 people. They have people
nice.
that schedule sortie every day, and it's interesting because they'll make one of those like Discord event things, and people can respond with their roles and sign up for sortie runs. They do all sorts of stuff. So if you are like a new player, or you're trying to do like you're into sortie or any other content, I would definitely check out the new player or help new players link shell. It's it's
Yeah,
funny
the
because
last
I've
thing I want to tell people is that they need to transfer servers if they're not getting stuff. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I've even told people in my link shell when they're like asking for stuff, because I'm lazy, and I've been pretty open about that. I haven't run an events in over a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Well,
And
Linkshell that says help new players, I'm thinking that's not myth at all.
oh yeah, no, 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 no,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, definitely not.
um, yeah, Even the current Linkshell name is a little ironic, but I didn't come up with it. That was all credit to Kiko Mizuhara of Azura server. He's the one that came up with the Linkshell name. So I just plugged it in. I'm just at the whims of the people.
Fighting myth with buddies.
Yep, that's right.
We gang up on you all the time.
Yes, which is why I stopped playing with all of you guys. Yeah, I went to Azura because I wanted to play with people, and I ended up not playing with people. That's the moral.
I ended up learning to hate people as a whole.
No, I still really like Azura. Even last night I got to jump into an Aeonic run a Linkshell member was doing because I had some free time, and I was like, yeah, I'll go Bard and sing some songs for you guys. That sounds fun. But the opportunities are endless. I think as long as you put yourself out there and you keep an ear to the ground, I think the main limiting factors for not finding a group is not putting yourself out there and just time alignment.
Yep.
That's definitely apt.
Mm-hmm. Well, boys, that's all I have for the day. Is there anything
Quick
else?
recap of favorite moments from the episode.
Oh, geez.
Invite listener stories for future episodes.
Yeah, we did that. We invited listener stories. So if you guys want to share your stories about how you found your group, you found your Linkshell, your static, whatever it may be, email us at blurredxi@gmail.com. If you want,
And Dex will read it live.
yeah, he
Yeah.
will. He will. If
I want more things to read off. Send me your shit,
yes,
even if it's just a troll like today. Like,
mhm.
send it.
Yeah, no one will never know the
Hashtag
identity of that one.
trolling? No.
We'll never know the
I mean,
identity.
You'll never get that mustache right if you don't send in the request.
That's a
true.
good point. You don't know if you don't try. So
Shoot
make
your shot,
sure you
whether
try.
it's a Linkshell event
Mhm.
or something otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are bored and you're at work and you want to be irresponsible, please tune in to Higmo TV at twitch.com or twitch.mythposter syndrome. We are streamers. We do that occasionally.
Mhm.
And
I wonder if like Myth intentionally misreads mine.
do I? Am I misreading
Yeah.
it? What is it?
Yeah. Well you said Hangmo TV at Twitch first of all.
Twitch at Hagmo
Uh,
TV. Sorry.
but it's just Hegmo. It's just
Oh, I
Hegmo.
thought it was.
Hegmo
Oh,
on
is your
Twitch.
YouTube channel
Yeah.
Hagmo TV?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Hegmo
right.
TV's YouTube.
All right. So check out. So forget. Fuck his Twitch. If you want to check out Hegmo, he does have Hegmo TV on YouTube. But at this point, I don't even care. Just don't even go.
You should watch Dynamis
Fair
Divergence on
enough.
loop.
Yeah. I feel like I've done enough
Hell yeah.
plugging for Hegmo in one day.
That's true. That's
Well,
true.
you haven't talked about his
We do
merch.
appreciate.
Yeah, check out the Hegmo merch. I do earn commission off of the shirts bought there.
Yep.
That is helping pay my
Wait,
rent.
what?
So please check that out. And if you want
Yeah,
to see
Myth
some
made
cool,
$300,000 last
I
month
did.
off of Hegmo shirts. Yeah.
We sold 500,000 jars of Galco Sweat, and I earned about 5 cents per. It was great. And if you want to check out some cool solo videos, Dex Prosius is on YouTube as well. Check him out. And that's all I
I'm
got.
not making enough content, but maybe soon.
Maybe soon. We'll get there. Okay, bye. Thanks for coming. Bye.
I love you. Bye.